I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We will get things going here with a approval of the minutes. So the minutes have been distributed and read. Are there any noted corrections for the minutes?
I would just like to note, as a sort of a newbie here, these are incredibly detailed and very beautifully produced.
Yeah. Note that in the minutes.
I have a note on my own minutes. I actually just realized I did not, like normally when I write down attendance, I just jot down names quickly and then add full names after. I did not do that this time, so I'm going to update names. Okay. And so I'm going to, unless there are any other notes, I'm going to move that we approve them with those changes.
I move we approve them with those changes.
Yeah, second. Okay. Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes with those noted corrections, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, all opposed, say nay. All right, great. The minutes are approved. Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Nick, for your excellent work in the minutes. Okay, now moving on to the financials with a update from Holly.
Finance is still the same.
We haven't spent anything.
Not for
To
long.
quote the Bob Seger song that got me through COVID. We've got $105,000-ish in grant funds. That is a combination of general and local income tax increase funds and the $40K from the Bloomington Urban Enterprise Zone. Allocation for us, $5,000 to do emerging artist professional development. I've got some ideas I'll share with you, Gerard, and Elliot coming out of our grants review session this past weekend. We can discuss those in a grant-specific meeting, I think. And then we've got $16,500 to give away in public art and grants. Again, the reason why these numbers have been the same all year is because we just did our first grant review this past weekend. So hopefully by June, that $105,000 is going to be a little lower, and then hopefully over the course of the next coming months over the summer, as we're releasing the public art master plan and we're rolling out some startup grants to go along with that public art and grants line you see under other funds will go down as well. But other than that, numbers are the same. Happy to answer any questions.
Did you ever hear from, you said there were one or two people who had gotten grants that never.
I've never heard from them.
I sent the one with, I meant to tell you, is in New York. Mm-hmm. And I sent messages to him through 2 or 3 different people, so. Okay,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like we've all done our due diligence in trying to give people money. And
well, maybe we could throw it back into the.
Yeah, well, we can't throw that money back because the money we pulled that from was a general fund line from the 2022 budget, and we don't get those funds back. Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say it.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm pausing only briefly because is it worth thinking about the MCCSC thing that came up during like the grant session about sort of like the funds for arts projects in MCCSC?
Tell me more about what you're thinking about.
Well, as far as like thinking of like our financial picture, is that something that?
I think that's a little difficult because so the city of Bloomington gave MCCSC $30,000 at the end of 2022 to use on arts programs in their schools. Okay. But because that is like a grant agreement, that was kind of a separate deal from the BAC, that was me just saying, we've got ARPA funds. Okay. Schools need more arts programs. Let's give them a chunk of money and let them figure it out. It really is ultimately up to MCCSC to decide what to do with that money. So while we will definitely be making recommendations for some of the applications that we looked at over the weekend that were for artists to go into school. If we felt like, hey, we can only partially fund this, or we don't feel like this is the best fit for them, what we're going to do is recommend, well, actually what I will do is I will connect them with my colleagues at MCCSC to see if they can work something out.
That's great.
But I think because like it really, the onus really is contractually on MCCSC to
Okay.
decide how to spend those funds, I'm a little worried about tracking that. I'm happy, like I think what we could potentially do closer to the end of the year, when some of the programs that they're working on rolling out more officially at the beginning of next school year, we could definitely ask them to come in and do a report to us
absolutely.
and just
Oh.
tell us how they've spent them. That might be a fun
Yeah.
and interesting and educational thing to do, especially. It will inform, our work going forward when we think about grants. It'll also inform the city and us, like, as we're asking for funds in coming years' budgets of like, does the BAC want to advocate for like a general fund line, or do we want to be more involved in the future?
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also accountability, which I think we need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely.
Yeah.
We'll definitely need that. And again, it's just like, as we're asking for more funds in future years, just hearing firsthand from the folks from MCCSC who are involved in this, like they will give us our success stories, which we can then tout.
Do they need
and
any
get more
help
money.
in figuring out how to spend it?
No, they've got, again, like if someone is like, I have this great program idea, I want to go do it in a school, let me know. We will get them connected to the right folks. But again, it is ultimately MCCSC's choice to decide what and what not to fund with that money.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry to spring that.
No, that's fine, but
I
yeah,
just,
it's a great
I
question.
just had
Just-
that.
yeah.
Because that came up a lot during the grant review
Yeah.
session, so I wanted to make a note of it. Okay, excellent. Great, so that's, any other questions on the financials? Excellent, cool. Well, Holly, I'm gonna throw it back to you for a staff update.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to talk about three things. The first two are related to the election. Number one, so Carrie Thompson was elected in the primary as the Democratic candidate. There might be one independent candidate if he can get enough signatures by the November vote. We're not sure yet. But we're thinking chances are Carrie Thompson will be the next mayor. And so I just wanted to, I feel like the question I have gotten the most since this election is, are you going to lose your job? What is going to happen with arts funding?
I ask it every day.
I just want to share that generally, so my position is a position that is in the general fund budget. That is the budget that is approved annually by council. Those approvals happen roughly in October and November of a year. So the approval for the budget line that pays me will happen before the new administration and the new council takes office in January. The new mayor could choose to fire me. That is a thing that could happen. However, it would be much more difficult for her to eliminate this position entirely, and I doubt that is something that will actually
I
happen.
don't think that's her intention.
Where you will see folks potentially leaving the city are my boss and Chaz's boss, Alice Crowley. So the directors of each of the departments are cabinet appointments. So once the new administration takes office and just does some evaluation of what's going on, they might choose to change some members who are running departments. Our anticipation right now is, and this is based on the experience of the last administration coming in, is the first year of an administration will kind of feel things out, kind of learn, and based on their learning during the first year, they'll start making appointments like halfway through the first year. So that's what we can anticipate. So that's where we are. I don't think we're going to lose funding. We're going to fight for some increases for this year's budget, just because, got a council, we can do it. We're demonstrating need for sure right now, so we're just going to go for it and see what shovels we can get in the ground before this new administration takes over. The other thing I want to share, so last month we had a conversation based on the Arts Alliance of Greater Bloomington, AAGB. We had a discussion of the candidate forum that they hosted, and one concern that was raised is, isn't one of these candidates, who is also a council member currently, supposed to be our liaison? What does that mean? Should they be here? What is their role? How do we interface with them? So I reached out to our council liaison office to try to get clarity there. I'm still waiting to hear back. As soon as I have a true answer, I will share that back with you. And if we need to be making a more concentrated effort to connect with that person and have them come to meetings, we will make that happen. It's just going to be dependent on.
I don't think that person's real happy right now.
Yeah. We might be in a fight with that person right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So those are my 2 election things. The other thing I want to share, and you all have heard about this a million times in the past 2 weeks, but I'm going to tell you again. Thank you for giving me the room. This Saturday, May 13th, we are having an exhibit, Columbus Bloomington Day. So the spirit behind this day is that we know Columbus has some great art and architecture and design things going over on there. We've also got some great things going on here. How can we start doing a more formal exchange of ideas to just really inform better quality of place and living in both locations? So some of our colleagues from this cycle of Exhibit Columbus will be coming over to Bloomington on Saturday just to see how awesome we are. And you are all invited to join us if you have the time. It is a very long day. Why did I do this to myself? So we're going to start in the Trades District, and former Mayor John Fernandez, who is now kind of the overlord of the Trades District, is going to be giving some remarks about the history of the Trades District, what's going on with the mill now, and his vision for the future. Our amazing friend Esteban Garcia Bravo, who is the artist who did the art installation in the Trades District Garage, is also going to be there. He's also going to make some remarks about his installation. Then we're going to do a little public art walk. We're going to do our best to make it from the Trades District Garage all the way down to People's Park and then over to the Waldron. I don't know if we're going to make it that far, and it's okay if we don't. We're just going to have a nice, fun walk together.
Where exactly is the first?
We'll start at the Trades, and then we'll meander
Where?
down.
Where
We'll
Trades?
Start at the Trades District Garage
At the
on the
garage,
north
okay.
side, and we'll have wayfinders and signage
Okay.
to help people get to where they're going. After the public art tour, we're going to go over to the Waldron Art Center. We're going to have lunch catered by Chef Lee, who is just kind of like an up-and-coming, amazing chef in town. And then we're going to have an afternoon conversation about the Hopewell development and how we can institute best practices of arts and design there to make it an amazing new neighborhood. Participating in that conversation will be our own Natalie Almanza. She'll be in a panel. One of the curatorial partners of this cycle of Exhibit Columbus also helped write the master plan for the Hopewell development. So he's going to be speaking as well. And there's going to be a conversation between them and a couple others moderated by John Zodi, who is the director of the Housing and Neighborhood Development Department, who has played a pivotal role in overseeing what is going on at Hopewell right now. So it should be exciting. The fun doesn't stop there. Then we're gonna go hang out at the 4th Street Garage and have a beer and congratulate ourselves on the stressful part of the day being over. And then at 7:30 p.m. at Upland Brewery, we're gonna do a screening of a film called Playtime, which is really just kind of making fun of modern architecture that doesn't really work. So it's kind of like 2 hours of dudes walking into glass walls, basically. But it looks like a great film. It looks great. So it's being co-sponsored by Cicada Cinema. I also want to mention that Christina and Nick are also going to be joining us as part of the public art tour. Christina's going to talk a little bit about the Black Lives Matter mural that's on the street on 6th, right in front of Bonfet. And Nick's going to be talking about the Nina Chanel Abney mural that's on the Graduate, which is a really interesting public-private partnership that Nick really helped spearhead as former chair of the Bloomington Arts Commission Public Art Subcommittee.
And for a shout out for the movie, apparently a bunch of architects watched it in architecture school.
Yeah, a lot of our, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be long, but it's gonna be
But
cool.
great. And it'll be in the Upland Wood Shop, so it's between the oak cast, I can't say that word. But anyways, it's pretty cool to watch it in that space because there's beer brewing right next to you. Also, Peyton Womack is a saxophonist who's going to be performing at the reception at 4:15. So more
Nice.
reason to come check out the One Drop show again because
Yeah, this is your last chance
Yeah.
to see the One Drop
It's
show.
the closing
This is the
show.
closing, yeah, this is doubling as the closing reception for the One Drop show.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you know, are
What
they,
time does that part start?
That's from 4 to 6 p.m.
46.
Yeah, it's really from 3:30 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
So,
are any
But-
folks from the, sorry,
I don't think Peyton won't be performing until 4:15, but
Okay.
are any folks from One Drop able to make it?
I
or-
believe they're
Okay.
planning to come, yes, especially because that's all, like, a lot of the artists will be coming too, because like, that's also their prompt at 6 p.m. They've been ordered to take the War of the Wolves.
I was gonna say,
So-
Sorry.
So yeah, I think I emailed the commissioners about it last Friday. There's a link in there to RSVP. It gives detailed times and locations of all of these events. You all also have my contact information. Shoot me an email if you need a direct link or if you want me to RSVP you. I am here to answer any questions, but I'm taking up a lot of space, so why don't we move on and y'all can just email me questions.
Oh,
Sure.
so I have
Yeah.
2 questions.
Okay.
One, it's looking like the weather's going to be cooperating on the day, but in the event that it doesn't, are there?
If there is a deluge, we will cancel the
Okay.
walking tour of
Okay.
it. We've made the walking. We've decided to do the final call about the rain at 9:30.
Okay.
If it's just like a drip drip, we will hand y'all some umbrellas.
Wait 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second question is: Are there any events during the day that, in particular, might be suitable to bring a young child to?
That's a great question. I would say the One Drop thing.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reception at One Drop.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And the walking tour.
Yeah.
If
right.
there.
Right. Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
alcohol at the reception?
Yes, there will be alcohol at the
Will
reception.
they let kids in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
there's a licensed
Yeah, we'll have a bartender, yeah.
that will be
Yeah.
checking IDs.
hmm And he's sober, so it's.
For now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was thinking of going to the talk in the morning because that's outside, right? Like that's.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and if I feel like we could just depending on like how horrible it is, we
Sure.
could potentially do the trades talk like in the garage, especially because
Okay.
Esteban's work is in the covered portion
Sure.
of the garage, and it
Okay.
might just be a good opportunity for folks to just kind of walk up and see it.
Okay. Cool.
So, I recall from the debate with the mayoral candidates that the one who won the Democratic side said many times, they're a listener, they want to find out. So how do we position ourselves to make sure that, assuming she moves forward in this role, that we have a good opportunity for her to listen to us?
We could invite her to a meeting.
I mean, she will have a lot of things going on,
Mhm.
but I think we need to carve out some space
Sure, I think that's a
and
great
to
point.
get a pitch together
Mhm.
and make sure we're organized with it and really,
I wonder if that's something we could do in alignment with, so Jordan and I have been talking about plans to do a presentation to council in September. So I feel like that's also going to be a pitch for the successes of the BAC, right?
Okay.
So that might also, we might be able to use that as the base for, a presentation. Perhaps we do the council presentation in September and we invite her to our October meeting. How does that sound to you? Does that sound too late, or? I also feel like with my bandwidth.
Well, I mean, it's also. I don't think it's too late. Is it too early as well? I mean, like, I don't want to assume anything, but
Yeah,
would before the election be too soon?
I would be. I mean, I invited her to Saturday.
Okay.
And I've been seeing her out and about at more. We were at a BCT event on Saturday. She was there as well.
Right.
I feel like
The more she's at stuff, the better,
Yeah.
I think. I think if we didn't reach out sooner than later. She just might be like,
I think it's
Yeah.
advantageous to keep asking her rather than a meeting events, you know, and this weekend is perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, and also say, like,
I think that's the best way you can really reach her that way.
I mean, if we want to be equitable and not feel like we're, putting the cart before the horse, if, there's an independent candidate that
Yeah.
collects the right number of signatures is going to be on the ballot, we can extend the same invitation to them.
Sure.
And we need a powerful PowerPoint or slideshow.
Yeah.
Or animation or video or whatever that should really be worked on.
Maybe with some laser light effects.
Well,
Yeah.
well, we have a photographer in mind, just in general, not even just for the commission, who could like photograph some art, like public art, so we have better pictures for that sort of thing. So I think we can get that going soon, and then build up the visuals on that. So.
Yeah, it feels like we're just kind of, we could kill a bunch of
Yeah.
birds with one stone here.
Yeah, well, I know, I think Holly and I were going to talk a little bit more in depth about that September presentation at the June meeting. Maybe we can brainstorm a couple other places where we want to, or people who we want to engage with sort of in the latter months of the year.
But also, can I say, so like our department, our boss Alex, whether or not he stays, like Holly and I meet with him, who then meets with, or she, whoever it could be, with the mayor. So part of the arts advocacy is like within our department and like behind the scenes with those meetings, like that too. Not saying we shouldn't do like this sort of stuff, but just so you know that does happen a lot.
yeah, we're the next
So-
tiering down in the grassroots before you get down to the artists themselves. And I think,
Yeah.
I think it's a good
I think we
reminder
should
to
play a
remind us
role.
to make
Yeah.
sure we do that.
But I think the BAC specifically, when, a lot of the work that Chaz and I are doing right now are emerging artists, right? And like we now have, like the BAC is responsible for an emerging artist grant, right? So I think that is something we can definitely say, we did that, the BAC specifically did that and spearheaded that initiative, and will most likely be reviewing 150 applications this fall. So, I think there are definitely things that we can highlight and say, we're doing capital art, 1% for the arts projects, we're contributing to the correct public art development in Hopewell. We are getting money. The BAC is truly getting money into the community at a impressive
but I
rate.
don't think there's any
That's our
reason to
success.
necessarily only keep it in the current year. I mean, once there is a visual inventory, particularly of static art,
Yeah.
you
Good luck
know,
with that.
there is a history.
We're not gonna have a photographer go around and do it. She's good, so she'll be good.
Great.
Cool. Okay, excellent.
I've been working on that for 3 years.
Thanks
There
for the staff
isn't one
update,
person
Holly.
on the city council or in every level that I have spoken to or called that has a clue about public art. It's kind of shocking.
Like
Now's
a
our
list
time.
of it?
Hmm?
Like a list of it?
Okay, yeah.
I'll say one thing about that, but then I think we should move on. So one thing, so I spent a lot of time encumbering funds at the end of 2022. So that's one reason why MCCSC received this grant. Another thing I did was I reserved about $10,000 from last year's public art maintenance budget that wasn't used to contract with someone this year whose job it is to kind of go out in the community and see graffiti, damage, needs repair. And so she's slowly beginning to do that work
Right.
as the weather gets better. But because we're saying, okay, the amount of work she's going to do with those funds is probably going to mean she's going to have funds left over in her contract to spend. So one discussion we're having is about her spending about 5 hours a week over the summer to go out and help us bring that public art inventory back up to current speed.
Great.
Yeah. And that's also something we can work on with our RTGIS department, because they made us a little public art map and it's really awesome, but they also have technology that will make it very easy for her to go out with an iPhone on site, type in information, snap a photo, and we can always, upload a better photo as well. But
Yeah.
the IT is just helping us, and she will help us make this a more efficient process.
And also there's like a Limestone Post article that lists
Yeah, that's a
all
great
the public
article.
or most of
I
it,
have,
so
I
that's
have
great.
a lot of stuff, which I'd be happy, as I've said repeatedly, to share or to give you if you're gonna make it happen with this. You know,
Cool, yeah, you should definitely email what you have and.
it's hard to email a lot of it.
Yeah.
Some of it can be, some of it are places that, you know, stuff is already done. There've been different people have tried to do it over the years. And everyone tells me when the bottom line is, get it from Alex Crawley, he has the information.
Can I suggest we table this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this comes up every 3 months, and
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
decided to put this in the purview of the Public Art Committee.
Yeah, I was gonna just about to suggest that we bring this up this Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, Holly, I'm gonna throw it to you one more time for the public art update.
Sorry, I won't. Two things. Number one, you all might remember this. Long ago, I think back in 2021, Sarah Skrabelik, who is an IU nanoscientist, reached out to us and said, hey, I'm going to apply for an NSF grant, and a portion of the funds for me to do research on nanoscience will be for a mural that educates the public about nanoscience and scale, basically, how teeny tiny a nanoparticle is compared to us as creatures in the world. So she got that grant, woohoo. So it's for $10,000, and we partnered with Kirkwood Apartments, which is an apartment building that's just west of Wonder Lab. They have a long wall that runs on the east side of their building, and they were like, yes, sure, please use this wall. We thought it was a great place because it's visible from the Beeline, and Wonder Lab is right there, and they're really excited about activating that alley with science activities. And so Sarah and the BAC will be partnering with them to kind of create a suite of programs around this mural that goes up. We closed the call for proposals for this mural at the end of April. We got amazing proposals. I am absolutely blown away by the quality of this work, and they're all local artists. I can't believe, I'm just so excited about what ultimately happens there. So Natalie, because we got a lot more applications than I was anticipating, so I think the review process, and then we'll bring the public art subcommittee in to look at this, it's just going to be a little more involved than I was anticipating, just because I think we're going to want to take time to really discuss these mural projects, and we're also going to want to talk with Sarah and her education team about them, just to make sure we're making the right choice. So Natalie and I are going to connect. She's on vacation right now, but when she's back, she and I will connect and just come up with a strategy for how we're going to review those murals, and we'll share back once we've got that. The other thing I want to share is, okay, Parks chose a very interesting ribbon cutting ceremony time for the Goat Farm mural. It is a Tuesday in June at 1 p.m. So that's great. I'm just concerned about how many folks we're going to be able to get out at that time to enjoy a public performance or like potential art making activities. So I'm going to have a follow-up conversation with Parks just to kind of suss that out, and Natalie and I will report back about that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
a bunch of retired people.
Yeah, which is also awesome. Yeah, that's great. And school will be out, so you know, I just want to make sure it's inclusive for everyone,
Right.
and I don't know if that's the best time for us to do our amazing thing.
Yeah,
So,
there has to be
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's not the best.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
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 Well.
That's what I've got for public art.
Okay, great. And yeah, anyone have any questions or other notes? I have a note to talk about the photos and stuff at the next meeting. Okay. Moving along to update from grants. Elliot. Brought to you by Cheez-Its.
That's right. Cheez-Its has sponsored this motion. the Cheez-Its and the seltzer water, which please help yourselves to. I do not intend to eat all of the Cheez-Its by myself. Are from leftover from this weekend when we spent 2 wonderful, productive mornings reviewing, discussing the grants. Several folks in this room were there, and several folks were online. It was wonderful, really rigorous, really intense. I'm pretty proud of us. We went through a lot, and I think we gave everything a fair shake, and did a good job collectively with that volume, and also the caliber of the grants. The grants are getting better, I think, overall. People are taking us seriously, and that's a great thing. So at this point, I will be meeting with Chair Gerard and City Holly to put together the notes and compile them and make a set of recommendations for us to bring back for us to vote on. So the way this works, like, we recommend things to the city puts it together, and then we vote on it again. I'm guessing that vote will be by email or no?
That vote will be at the May 19th Grants Committee.
Okay. So the Grants Committee votes on it, not the whole committee, which makes sense since the Grants Committee are the folks who have actually engaged with the material. But if you're not on the committee, happy to share more about that. Maybe I can present more in the near future about some highlights. So.
I think, we can share at our June meeting.
Okay.
Who was awarded a grant.
Yeah, I would say historically, I think this has always required full commission vote.
Has it?
I feel like the past
Just like with 1% projects.
3 cycles.
I don't think so.
I'll check with legal.
All right, yeah,
We'll check
depending
with
on
that.
that. And if it has to be a full commission vote, I'm fine with that. We'll figure out a way to
Yeah.
convey the best version of the information to y'all, so you don't feel that you're not informed on the vote.
Oh,
Yes.
Does that have to, are we have to be in person on that, or?
No, that's okay to be
We're okay.
hybrid virtual. Yeah, and
It has
that's,
to be quorum though, right?
yeah.
So you have to have it in, ideally it would be in person. So you
We
have
will need an
quorum.
in-person quorum
Yeah.
All right.
for the vote.
We're still all learning how to comply.
We do for that, okay.
We'll figure this out in good time. I certainly don't want to figure it out live on the air on Cats. But so that's what's going forward. You'll hear more soon about this package of grants, and we'll be asking for your support and your questions on those. TBD on some of the specifics there. And just as the sun sets on that, the sun rises on operations grants. Opens on May 30th. It's ruthless, folks. We had 4 last year, 4 cycles. Somehow 3 is still. These are for 501c3 organizations, so the threshold is higher on these, and these are to support any of their operating expenses, staff salaries, utilities. It could be a project. It could be literally anything they want. This is the least restrictive in terms of where the funds, or very unrestricted in terms of where the funds go, but more restrictive in terms of who's eligible to apply. So look for more information about that coming up. We'll be feeding it through all your channels so you can send it to the folks who typically apply for this, and hopefully we'll get some new organizations as well. I don't doubt that the applications will rise just like they have for every cycle. So that's all I've got for now. Lot pending on this based on the meeting, but thanks everyone for participating over the weekend. It meant a lot to me, and it will mean a lot to the community.
Does anyone have any questions for the grants chair, the grants committee?
I just have a
Yeah.
quick thing, not a question. But for me personally, I don't care what time it is, that I'm fine, but maybe for the people who are working or
Yeah.
other things, maybe if we did it in the morning, would that be easier? It's just a question,
Yeah, we're gonna have to pinpoint that time. Yeah, so we'll figure it out. We'll make sure it's as convenient.
Yeah.
as
It's
It's gonna be
possible.
hard for people, I think, to be
Yeah,
in
we can
person
certainly
on
consider
that.
the morning.
Yeah,
so I'm sure.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Get ready to open up your calendars, everyone. And
Yeah.
One time that works. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's a good point, actually, the morning.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I just want to second the thanks to everyone that was involved, including the additional grant readers that weren't here, the commissioner grant readers, Elliot and Holly for doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and Chaz, the software
Yes.
worked awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
wanted to say
Yeah,
that.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
So,
it's very
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
I read those grants so much quicker than I ever have before. It was awesome.
so great work on that.
Yeah. Third,
So-
second, it was so much, the actual reading of the grants was so much more streamlined. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Good to know.
Cool. So yeah, I feel really pleased with the work we've done so far. And
Yeah.
a lot to go, but a little bit less than than before.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. If there are no more questions or comments about grants, we'll move on to from the chair. So a couple quick things here. One thing I'm going to go off agenda here and actually maybe throw it back to Chaz for a minute. I'm wondering if Chaz, if you wouldn't mind giving a quick update on the last artist party
Oh.
and how that went and
Like,
everything
when
there.
was that? The last artist party was last month in April. It was at the One Drop show, or One Drop exhibition. I also have really bad allergies, so I'm sorry. We had probably 80 people come through, and we had spoken word / poetry reading. We had 3 local artists doing that. WHB was a DJ, and I feel like we had probably at least 80 people come through, which is a little lower than we partnered with IU Arts and Humanities Council, but still that's pretty on par with how it's normally been, maybe even a little bit different crowd because of the poets and writers who participated. So yeah, it was ended up being really good. The performances were great. One of the poets went a little too long, but otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it was just really nice. So our sponsor, Downtown Bloomington Inc., was really happy and impressed per usual. So thank you to Talisha at Downtown Bloomington Inc. for giving us money for that. And yeah, ended up being another success. So I'm planning one for June, which is coming up soon. There might be another Granfalloon partnership, maybe not. I don't know if we'll talk about that. But anyway, yeah, it was good. Another success. I was very happy. With these, I want to continue doing performances or having some aspect rather than just visual arts, but having something else to keep people's attention, keep them coming. And yeah, so I feel like they've been going pretty strong.
Yeah.
So that was the 4th one. So thank you for asking. I know Rob was like one of the first to pop by.
Cool.
So thank you. I know a lot of you have been at them, so thank you very much. But yeah, a great community event. Building my newsletter list. I don't know if Holly has anything to say about them, but it ended up being just pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like those are becoming a real important piece of the landscape here. And I think in that space in particular, beyond just the party, like really that you made that space come to life. Like I wouldn't have noticed that there weren't access to power or bathrooms in there. Judging by that, I've since learned that's the case, but it made that place really cool.
Yeah.
One Drop, the creators and people who put it on, like really props to them for building that atmosphere. For Holly for getting the space and working with them. Props to Holly. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to contribute as well, is that I thought there's a very good energy to the space. Art was very respectfully and appropriately arranged, clustered, had its own space, a good eye behind all that. It was nice to have a little bit of food on the side. And so do we have access to that again for June?
So yeah, with the artist party is we have a Downtown Bloomington Inc. sponsors us for 4 a year, $500 each is sponsorship. But this year we are likely going to have 6 because IU, our Teen Humanities Council sponsored the first one that was in January.
But you mean the physical space?
Yeah, physical space.
Sorry, I thought.
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, Holly can talk more to that. No, we unfortunately probably won't.
There is a tenant very interested
Okay, sure.
in leasing it. The good thing is, I think they would be open to doing more art in there. So I feel like the tenant who is interested in the space is very much about like incorporating arts as part of their business model. My colleague in small business development is in direct contact with them, and I think there is definitely potential for the two of us to work together to continue to activate that space with arts. The question of timeline, so one fun thing that happened 2 days before that exhibition opened in March was the contractor who's working on building out the space next door came over while they were starting to install art on the wall with the exposed studs and was like, I'm here to put in the drywall.
Which they
And-
hadn't even
yeah.
put out into like,
Yeah.
that would have been a bad thing for
So-
them to do anyway, I insist.
So that was like, I knew something terrifying was going to happen during that install. It always comes from where you have no idea where it's going to come from. That's where it came from. And they took a look around and they were like, you know what? I'm going to wait until the show comes down. So it's really a matter of, the next thing that I want to have happen in that space is because the contractor respected our use of it, I want to give them the time to go in and finish installing the drywall. So then it's really a question of what is the time between that work happening and when this new vendor comes in and continues to build out the space. And it's do we have that time, and do my colleagues and I at the city and others have the bandwidth to do something new? So I think as we get a better grasp of when that space might be open again for us to use, then we will decide, how we might want to activate it again. I can say we're also exploring using other spaces to do similar things, using that as proof of concept.
That's a good one.
So,
Yeah, because unfortunately it's going to be leased out to the business, but I mean, this is, something cool down there that we can keep building on. So
Yeah.
there's hope.
Cool. Thanks for that surprise update. One quick thing, not going to put you all on the spot here for a minute on this one. So Nick will not be able to attend the June meeting, and so I am looking for volunteers to take notes at our June meeting. Would anyone like to put themselves out there to take
What is the
notes?
date?
June 14th.
June 14th. Not being with Nick's example of good minutes.
Yeah.
I went to art school, so.
You picked your grass.
No pressure.
Okay. Well.
But I will do it.
Okay. Excellent.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Handwritten.
Love it. Good calligraphy. Illustrated.
yeah.
Make note of that.
One shot deal.
Yeah, right. That'll be a one meeting contract. I'll have that drafted up and sent over to your office. You can have some Cheez-Its as a.
Salty snack.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Item number 3, number 2 on the agenda here from your chair. Sort of in the spirit of some of the discussions that we were talking about earlier about connecting with folks who are might be seeking input. The Buskirk Tremblay Theater is currently in the process of creating a new strategic plan, and a member from that subcommittee on their board, prior to the June meeting, will send a list of questions to us to sort of think about and consider, and then they will be attending that June meeting to sort of get our feedback and have a little bit of a discussion on that. So that will be at the June meeting. So just an update on that. Okay, cool, and that's everything from the chair. Next up, let's take a quick look at the upcoming events calendar. So I believe this gets just a quick note on this. This doesn't get sent out with the meeting materials, but it gets, well, no, it does, because it's linked on the agenda, and I usually try to include a note about it in my midpoint check-in. But yeah, so again, feel free to add or add details to this document as you learn about events that are either BAC, like were funded by BAC, or are maybe BAC adjacent, or would be good to have a BAC presence at these events. Looks like upcoming we have the exhibit Columbus and Playtime film screening that Holly mentioned earlier. We have Grand Falloon coming up, which I will get into in sufficient detail during the commissioner updates. And then another is Roller Coaster, is that a...
This was a BAC funded project. This was a project we funded as part of our last cycle, which was the Emerging Artist Arts Project cycle, the best title of any grant cycle ever. This is, I'm not sure exactly what this is going to look like, but I think it's going to be super cool. Basically, it's an event that incorporates both a film screening and movement by performers and maybe the audience. But it looks super cool. Do you remember this?
I remember.
Yeah, it's at the Waldron Art Center. They're doing a really good job getting the word out about this. I've seen posters for it around town, so I'm just planning to go.
Sounds cool.
And it looks like I implicated Elliot as well.
Oh no, I actually just wrote my name down that time. Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't
great,
realize it was
awesome.
up on the big screen.
Okay, oh, sorry. Yeah, this isn't to shame anyone. This is just, yeah. Add your name if you'd like to go with us. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And then
Yeah, Nia's done.
yeah, and then Nia, if you don't mind, to put you on the spot, would you be able to tell us a little bit about the Roses, or is that the Queer Youth Art Show and auction at Roses?
Yeah, I haven't gotten a ton of information, but I know it's just like teen age. Like it's one of my teacher friends kind of just approached me and was like, "Can we use the space?" And I was just like, "Yeah," and I'm like, they wanted to do an auction, but also like kind of like a showcase. So it's like an art show for like a school kind of thing, but. I don't know. I'm guessing that the content's going to be different because it's led by queer students specifically. But yeah, beyond that, I couldn't tell you. I'm kind of excited to find out myself and see kind of like examples of what the work is. But I have a feeling I'm not going to see any of the work until like they actually install it. So, but yeah, any opportunity to like help out somehow the queer community, love to. So yeah, no, I will post more details if I find out more, because I think isn't there a section on that Excel that kind of has like a description?
Yeah, notes or links or.
Yeah. So they don't have like a website or anything, so that's why I'm like, I didn't have anything offhand for them, but I am really excited about that. It's gonna be really cool.
We have a description section now, so just me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thanks for.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks for putting me on the spot. I almost forgot I put that on there. So it's like, I'm still waiting on some details, but they're kids, so I'm give them a little time because they're probably just finishing up school.
Sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Perfect. Well. Let's move on to commission. You have some.
I was just going to add one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this coming Friday evening, there's going to be an opening of both, it's an art show that is primarily under the Artists for Climate Change, and it's called Conserve Bloomington, and it's actually It's actually pretty super show. The artwork is much more extravagant than usual, and every kind, with just everybody's feelings about climate change. But the thing that I think is going to be really interesting is the reception starts at 6 o'clock, but at 6:45 there is going to be a musical performance that is original art that is done through some of the students at the IU Jacobs School, and the theming of it is to go along with and marry into their feelings about climate change.
Oh, super cool. Do you know where that's taking place?
Yeah, it's at Arts Alliance,
That's
which is
at the mall?
in the mall.
Okay, cool.
And there's a big gallery in the back of the store, which is where everything will be hanging. But I would say get there a little early because they're going to have they're going to seated for some of the music, and it's an interesting idea, and it's really should be fun. And yes, you can bring children or any ages.
Okay, great.
So, sorry, what was the date again?
This coming Friday, May 12th.
Okay.
And then it will also, it'll be up for 2 months, June 11th as well. And the music will be also for June 11th.
Cool.
I've got one too.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a new play being launched in Bloomington, written by Jonathan Michelson.
Oh, Mia's husband.
Oh, is
Yep.
this on the
And Ansley Valentine, both of whom have an incredible professional background. And Paul Daly used to run the Ivy Tech Theater Department and so on, are all involved in it. And Jonathan was really curious about exploring, particularly because of athletics now can be students can be sponsors of things that make money. And so it's a play that really explores some good football player, but it's about the nitty-gritty and the dynamics of how that rolls through. The play is appropriately called On the Line, a college football play, and it runs May 18th through 20th. They rented the Bloomington, where the Ted Jones Theater through Constellation. So this isn't supported by IU, it's not supported, it's supported by them. And it runs May 18th through 20th at 7:30. So I invite you to come and see a new play in the works.
Yeah, and it's that's also part of Grand Falloon. Like it's sort of connected under that umbrella of stuff like that. So, yeah, very cool.
And tickets are where?
They're on the BCT page. I'm gonna throw the link in
It's
there.
Busker Channel.
Yeah. So if you go to the Busker Channel box office.
Oh,
So it's so appropriate
Yeah.
to bring that sort of art up?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it has like a local connection or like a BAC, I think adjacent connection, which I think this definitely does.
Yeah. And there will be a discussion at the end of every performance.
Oh, cool.
Giving them feedback. How can we, empower this piece to move forward?
Didn't know that. That's awesome. Okay, great. Any other events that folks would like to add? Actually, you know what? I'll. Great. Okay. Cool. I'll. Yeah. Excellent. Thinking in real time. Okay, moving on to commissioner announcements. Who would like to start us off here? Just any updates, upcoming things they're excited about?
Maybe that's where I should have put my.
No. They're adjacent. Well, I'm good to talk about Grand Falloon for a minute if y'all are cool. Okay, so. Yeah, no, I feel great. There's so much, and I want to be succinct and but also specific at the same time. So this year's man, I'm sure you've heard me talk about Grand Falloon before. To give sort of a brief synopsis of it, it's meant to do a couple things. it's meant to sort of kick off the summer art series here in Bloomington. So sort of kind of let people know, like, hey, you know, all of these events and all of these partners and all of these organizations are doing, like, you know, X, 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 and there's a lot of that is promoted at the actual outdoor concert with, like, partner booths and things of that nature. It also is sort of a showcase of local and regional artistic excellence, and it highlights Bloomington both as, like, a place that presents high-level arts and ideas, but is also a worthy destination for national and international artists, authors, and thinkers to stop and you know and talk or speak or present or exhibit. And then the third thing is, it is more than, I think, well, I shouldn't say more than anything the council does, but it is one of the primary public events that the IU Arts and Humanities Council does. It is a campus community partnership. It is done. Most of the events take place downtown Bloomington, like either in spaces that are, like, I guess you would consider, like, if not public spaces, like off campus and publicly accessible spaces. Most of the events are free, and it really runs the gamut of artistic forms. We have film screenings, we have theatrical performances, we have talks and discussions, we have exhibits, we have musical performances, we have just interactive activities, like we're doing a Wonder Lab after hours, like those types of things. I have the link in that document that just sort of like goes to the full festival schedule. And some of the things I wanted to highlight in particular are some high-level Bloomington artists or IU artists that are coming into town. So Meg Cabot is an author. She's best known for the Princess Diaries series, for writing the book series that inspired the movie. She's coming and she's going to do a really fun sort of like talk, reading, PowerPoint presentation that's going to talk both about like her time here in Bloomington and then also her how it's linked to the writing that she's done, and she's going to be doing a book signing. The band Sunlux, who scored the music for the film Everything Everywhere All at Once, they are the leader of that band is an IU Jacobs alum and has family that lives here in Bloomington, and they also have strong connections in Indianapolis as well. They're coming back and doing a performance at the Busk Chumley Theater, as well as some talkbacks. The band is going to be doing a talk at the Farr Center, and then Ryan is going to do an interview at a screening of Everything Everywhere All at Once at the IU Cinema. We're partnering with IU Cinema and Cicada Cinema and doing like a film series. All of those films are free. The ones at the cinema require that you get a ticket just because of capacity issues. The ones you can RSVP for the Cicada films, but those are you can also likely just show up and you'll be able to get a seat there. And then of course, man, I could go on and on. The big thing is June 10th, outside on Kirkwood Avenue. The Bloomington Handmade Market will be taking place during the day. There will also be performances from Girls Rock and what we're calling the Bloomington Fantastic, which is Bloomington-based cirque artists and aerial artists are going to be performing. There will also be arts partner booths and interactive arts activities, and then that sort of and an art installation in People's Park, hopefully, and that will all and that will all roll into the main stage concert that evening on the 200 block. That will feature Indigo D'Souza, Arrested Development, which is a 90s hip-hop group, and the Flaming Lips. And that concert is free. There are premium tickets available that get you in like a little bit closer to the stage and other such things. But you could also just hang out on Kirkwood and listen to those awesome bands perform. So yeah, there's a lot more there. I highly recommend taking a look at the schedule and picking out some literary or art or film things and attending, because they're going to be a blast.
sounds great.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we close, I'd just like to clarify when the public art meeting is. Someone said Friday, it is Thursday. She put the wrong date on it.
I believe she put the wrong day. I think I thought she
okay.
came back and said Friday at
Right.
12.
Yeah, my understanding is it's Friday
Okay.
Okay.
at
I
12.
will-
Would you be, I need to reach out to Natalie tomorrow morning about a couple other
Mhm.
things, but maybe we can just both confirm that with her and then, because I feel like we didn't ever wrap that conversation via email, so maybe we can just close the loop
Sure.
via email tomorrow.
And let us know.
Thanks for asking.
Okay. Okay, cool. Any other updates or notes or announcements? Seems quieter than normal in here. Is that just me? Anyway. Moving on to public comment.
Actually,
Oh.
when did you say the grant cycle is for our organizational? When are those applications going out?
The application platform will go live on the 30th of May.
That's it.
So we can discuss maybe tweaking a couple of things.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was pretty obvious there were 2 things that we needed to add into the questionnaire.
For projects, yeah.
Well, for
Let's-
projects, but even with organizational, how many people is this affecting, or,
Mhm.
and commitment to the town of Bloomington or whatever. I made notes of that there were a few things that everybody kept saying over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yes, let's talk about
Like-
that.
Yeah, I'll send that out to you.
I think, what I recommended, if we have time, so Nick Elliott and I are meeting tomorrow evening to.
Gerard.
I'm so sorry, Gerard. Yeah, Nick, you're up there. Gerard and I are meeting tomorrow evening to have our discussion about funding allocations for the project session. And I think we also agree that as long as there's time left at the end of that discussion, we were going to talk a little bit about some tweaks to the operations application. And so maybe we can also discuss that at the next grants meeting, because that'll be
I'll
roughly
send you an
a week.
email that
Yeah.
was
But
just,
we'd also love to have your notes. I took a few, but.
I'm sure
yeah.
they're identical.
Yeah.
Just send your
Yeah.
notes and we'll incorporate them.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, great. To public comment. Hey, Susan.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Do you-
Hi. Hi, Rob. This is Susan from the Y.
No.
Hi.
Nice
I'm
to see
sorry
you
guys
here.
accepted- yeah, I'm sorry you guys accepted Rob onto the commission. I knew what you were getting into. Well, Rob, I don't know if you know, I'm the president of 4th Street Arts Committee. So I come to see what's going on in the world and show support.
Great. Thank you for
Appreciate
being
it.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I have nothing to report.
Okay, cool.
Nothing to add. Job well done.
Bye.
We're glad
Okay.
you're here.
Cool, wonderful, great. Well, if there aren't any other notes or questions, then I will go ahead and move to adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second? It has to be verbal, sorry.
Oh, I so moved.
Okay, great. Well, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Well,